Hey YouTube, it's Justin, aka Demonic Sweaters, here with another electronic drum video review type thingy. Today we're going to be taking a look at this really cool vintage-ish Roland PD-120 dual zone 12-inch trigger. And these things are actually a few years old, and you could pick them up for pretty inexpensive. I got this one on Reverb for I think around $160, and it's in really good shape. It's got this cool like kind of red to pink fade finish, and that's basically how they came. It also comes with a mounting bracket, which I took off, and I'll show you what this looks like. This basically just attaches right here via 4 bolts, so you can mount that to a standard tom mount, you know, L bracket type thing. But I'm going to be using mine in a snare stand, so I took that off. I would like to mention though, I had a heck of a time getting this thing off. 3 of the screws came out really easy, and then one of them just would not budge. I basically stripped out the head of the screwdriver, you know, had some channel locks on that thing, and I was like trying as hard as I could to get that thing off. And so eventually I just had to drill it out. That was the only way I could get that screw off of there. But I managed to do it without damaging the drum at all. Just basically ruined one of the screws, but that's okay. So the reason why I picked this thing up is because I have a acoustic to electronic drum kit back there that you guys might have seen. Right now I have the Tama Club Jam snare drum on there, this 12-inch snare, and I'm just using that with a mesh head and a D-Drum Red Shot external trigger. Now the Red Shot external triggers are good, but they're just single zone, and I've had a heck of a time finding a dual zone external trigger that I liked good enough to use. The best one that I found was the Roland one, but it still, you know, just doesn't have the accuracy that I would like while I'm like doing performance and things like that. So I was like, you know, maybe I'll just pick up a snare drum. And then I saw these and I thought that that was a good deal. It's the same size, you know, in diameter. It's a little bit thinner, and you know, it's not the same finish, but you know, it's pretty common for a snare drum not to be the same finish as the rest of the drum set. So I'm just gonna go ahead and throw that on there and we'll see how it does. The head seems like it's in pretty good shape, although I do notice in the center, it feels like a little bit like, almost like there's like a sharp, I don't know, like fiber coming through. So maybe the head is starting to wear just a little bit. The cone on the inside, I can feel it with my fingers, feels really good. It feels really, really firm and new. So I think that part will be just fine. And the drum itself is built extremely solid. Like, this thing is heavy. I'd say it's somewhere around 5 or 6 pounds, which is, you know, that's pretty heavy. It weighs more than the actual snare that's there right now. And it's just built really well. Now, if you like these kind of videos, don't forget to subscribe, click like, and the bell icon so you get notified every time I upload new content. Also, you can check out my record label, which is anthillrecordings.bandcamp.com. I don't use Patreon or anything like that, so if you want to support what I do, that's the best way to do it. Anyway, let's get on with checking this thing out. All right, so what I think about the PD-120 is it's pretty good. You know, it's not the greatest trigger in the world, but for, you know, under $200, it's definitely a high quality drum, you know, that you can get that's gonna cost you a lot less than one of the newer Rolands. And the only downsides I think to it are the fact that it has a center mounted trigger, so you do get quite a bit of hot spotting if you hit directly over that trigger. One of the things that I found that helped that is to change the velocity curve to exponential, I think is what I had it on, where I seem to like it the most. The other thing that I noticed is the rim sensitivity isn't quite as much as I would like it to be. I basically had to crank it all the way up on my module to get the level that I liked, and then also crank the overall sensitivity up more than I would like to get the rim sensitivity that I liked. But then I was able to compensate that by using that exponential trigger curve that I talked about before. Now, I'm thinking that the rim sensitivity issue also might have something to do with the Roland TD6 module that I use, because I'm noticing that to be a common theme on a lot of the triggers that I tried on here, and not so much on the older module that I had before. So maybe that's the issue as far as that goes, but regardless, it's still very decent. I was able to get it, you know, tweaked to my liking, and as you could hear there in the song, it seemed to sound pretty good, and you didn't even really notice any hot spotting. Ghost notes sounded good and all that stuff. The other thing that I noticed though is the rim trigger and the center trigger, they kind of behave like two separate triggers. And what I mean by that is if you really want to get the best result hitting the rim trigger is by hitting the rim alone without hitting the actual head of the drum. And then you get a nice solid rim sound or rim trigger sound. But if you try to hit both together like you would on an acoustic snare drum, sometimes that can result in some double triggering. So I would recommend, you know, just playing on just the rim or just the head. And once you get used to doing that, it's really not so bad. But I would like, you know, just to be more realistic, you know, to be able to hit both together. But I got used to it pretty quickly, and you couldn't even really tell, you know, once I started playing it. So overall, I think it's a pretty good buy, and it looks pretty cool on there. And I think I'll probably end up using it for a little while, you know, or maybe as my permanent snare drum. We'll see. So anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. And don't forget to like, subscribe, click the bell icon, check out anthillrecordings.bandcamp.com, and I'll see you guys on the flip side. Have a good day. Testing, testing, 1, 2. Check, 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 1, 2.